Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. Lots and lots to talk about today. But I got to tell you, the number one topic of the day has got to be the deep state. Why? Because the deep state is everywhere, and they're causing problems. They're shutting down the Trump agenda all over the place. They're shutting down MAGA, MAHA, anything that you want. The deep state is under attack, and they are fighting back, and they're fighting back powerfully, powerfully. Now, there's a ton of things happening. We got to ask ourselves, what's deep state? What's not? What does that mean? What's really happening? From community notes on Twitter, we've got an example that we're going to talk about today of the community notes being abused, to the Epstein list, and whether or not John Roberts is on that list at the SCOTUS. Someone posted about that today. We have the deep state in action, and the question is, are we the people going to fight back? Are we going to help Donald Trump beat this deep state back? What's happening? It's a tough fight, too, because we don't know who's good and who's bad. And it's very hard to tell. Is this guy deep state, or is this guy just, lousy at what he does or misfit? So there is a lot to look at here, and we're going to look at it from a lot of different angles. We're going to have, for the first little bit of the show, our friend Mark Sherwood is here. And Dr. Mark is Dr. Mark, but what you may not know is Dr. Mark used to be a police officer. He spent a lot of time as a cop, and I want his input on the deep state. I want his input on the law enforcement actions. I want his input on a bunch of things. I want to ask him, Mark, if you had videotapes of someone raping a child, how long would it take you to complete that investigation? We need to know. We need to talk about some of these things. We need to really be pushing these things. This is a critical thing. And ultimately, folks, it comes down to we, the people, fighting back against those that want to enslave or destroy our way of life. They want to just take things over, and they want a whole new world, a new world order, if you will. And that new world order isn't going to be based on fairness or an equal opportunity for everybody. It's going to be based on their concept of equity and making sure that they get everything, and they get to decide what we get. We, the useless eaters, get what's left. That's what they're shooting for. So lots to talk about today. Before I do, of course, please consider supporting us. We do need your help. We do need your backing. And if you can become a monthly supporter, all the better. Go to givesendgo.com/Renslaw, givesendgo.com/Renslaw. Listen, your monthly donation makes a huge difference. $20 a month. Keep building, keep donating. It helps. Please consider supporting us. Also, of course, we've got Dr. Mark today, and make sure you go to TomRenz.com. Always go to TomRenz.com, www.TomRenz.com. You have to type it. Remember, you can't Google Tom Renz or you just get hit pieces. Go to shops, and then you can go anywhere, but check out our partners and affiliates and scroll down, and you got Kirk Elliott, Precious Metals. You got Sat Phone Store, which is wonderful. Dulce Sweeteners, all sorts of good things. Of course, we love Sherry Tenpenny, our friend. But scroll down. Today, of course, we want to talk about Kingdom Fuel. And listen, Kingdom Fuel, great product. Dr. Mark's got it. You click on our link, you get a big discount, actually. And, if you use the Kingdom Fuel, it's a meal replacement. It's nutritional. You can replace it. And I don't think, we'll confirm with Dr. Mark, but he does not make it from petroleum products. There's no petroleum products in his. I'm joking. Of course, there's none. It's healthy. It's good stuff. And it's meal replacement. You'll lose weight. It will help you lose weight. It'll help you, get into better shape. It's a great product. So please make sure you're supporting that. TomRenz.com, support our affiliate page. All right. Without further ado, let's talk about the deep state, and let's bring on Dr. Mark. How are you doing today, Mark?
I'm doing well, Tom. It's really good to see you. And I can confirm, before we go any further, there's no petroleum products in Kingdom Fuel.
You didn't go and buy an oil well and then use the oil to make Kingdom Fuel, huh?
No. There's no deep state in me anywhere in the core of cores and the heart of hearts.
It's interesting that the Democrats are so okay with petroleum products in the food, even though they don't want gas-powered cars. I mean, that's kind of a little bit of an irony there. I mean, just saying, it's kind of a weird thing, but yeah, we'll let that go, I guess. So, Mark, I want to talk to you today. Let me show you this to start out with. So this is, I think Twitter is one of the better places to look at news right now. And this is a Twitter feed. And I just, here's the news feed, right? You got walls, and we all know what that's about because walls is protecting people. You got Ukraine, trench, but here's deep state. Bongino, who's fighting the deep state. Got UK, which is a core part of the deep state. We've got the Epstein deep state. Uh, yeah, we got Moscow, which is an interesting thing. All just go down here, thing after thing after thing after thing, all tying into the deep state. The deep state is all over the media, yet they try and claim it doesn't exist. But Mark, you and I have been fighting on the MAHA side for quite a few years now. I think it's safe to say that we both experienced some deep state. Yeah,
I think so. I think people need to know that the deep state is characterized by the following things: anti-constitution, anti-people, pro-evil, pro-money, pro-profit, and all that at the expense of anything you can think of. And they're around there, and it's been for a while. And I think it started many years ago, and it's just progressively gotten worse and worse and worse. And you're right, we're in a real battle. And when you get a lion, or in this case, an enemy deep state person in the corner, they're going to come out biting and going to come out fighting. We need to be ready for that. But you got to keep pushing, because any bully, as we know, which that's what that is. Deep state is bully.
Yeah.
We push back against a bully. It is important to understand that the bully will back down, but somebody's got to keep pushing back and not run in fear.
Absolutely. 100%. And I think we've seen it kind of manifest. Listen, let's take COVID, right? Created with involvement of the CIA, the DOD. They were all involved. DOD distributed the vaccines. I mean, you didn't get the vaccine from Pfizer or Moderna. For anybody that doesn't know this, I've talked about it, but you didn't get it from Pfizer or Moderna. You got it from the military. The DOD got that and gave it to your doctor to distribute. So, I mean, the deep state was behind that. They were involved with that. They were involved with COVID. They were involved with 9/11. Involved with J6, involved with elections. I mean, they've been into everything. And they're abroad. I mean, the deep state's tied in. They're doing work abroad. Yeah, a lot of it seems to kind of emanate out of the CIA, the intelligence community. I mean, that's where I would say a lot of it seems to be centralized. But I think it's more than that. I think that central intelligence agency, I think the intel community is probably, I mean, they're not doing it of their own volition. Somewhere, somehow, someone with money got in there and started manipulating and facilitating stuff there. So, I mean, there's tie-ins. And, does the tail wag the dog or the dog wag the tail? Sometimes it's hard to tell which is which. But there's been a lot of it out there. And it's kind of like, I'm guessing that it's not unlike any other, RICO type activity. And this is where your police background comes in, Mark. Now, when you were doing what you did for all those years, did you ever have any opportunity to investigate any sort of like RICO type actions?
Oh yeah, of course. Specifically when we're dealing with, because I came on when the initial Crips and Bloods were pushing crack cocaine from west to east across the U.S. and
yeah.
Oklahoma was kind of right in the middle, and I was involved in all of that. But when you look at that, couple key things to point out is connecting the dots is somewhat difficult, but it's not impossible. And then also know that there's always a big person or two behind the scenes that are pushing the button, and there's a lot of people that are I kind of call them unwitting soldiers.
Yeah.
The enemy army. And so sometimes they're designed to take the heat, to take the brunt of everything, with the intent based upon manipulation from the top to shield the top. And that's the way that's always worked, And so you have to work that. And so a lot of times we'd have interviews with some of these unwitting soldiers, let's call them, and we would try to get them to cooperate or give us some insight as you go up. And Tom, I think people didn't understand that a lot of times, because you might arrest somebody with X number of drugs or whatever, but you're trying to establish this pattern that's going on. And so sometimes you have to like cut a deal here to get the bigger thing and to make that RICO charge happen. So yes, it's a very complicated situation, but it can be done. And people need to understand all the nuances of that.
Well, and I want to draw some direct parallels here, right? So let's think about your experience going after, the drug running and the gangs. And let's draw a parallel. So You've got it when you look at drug running in the gangs. You've got the first criminal is the user, the guy who bought the drugs and used the drugs. Now, if you arrest that guy, that's great. You get a druggie off the street, but it ain't going to stop it, is it?
No,
Uh,
not at all. You have to continue to work up the food chain, I call it.
and let me ask you a question. If you're working a RICO case and you find a drug user and you arrest that drug user, did you ever have any hesitation? Did you ever worry about that destroying the case because he wasn't? I mean, the only person he knows is his buyer, right?
No, that's right. It's not going to destroy the case in that situation, because all he knows is one link up the ladder. And many times,
Yeah.
some of these lower level players are kept in the dark purposely. And
Yeah.
I don't mean to be facetious about this, but a good evil leader
Yeah.
will do that very thing. They won't tell people around them really what's going on. They'll just tell them enough to know that they think they're doing something perhaps right or less evil or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So then let's take that a step up the ladder. So your low level dealer, right? Your low level dealer, the guy who is standing on the corner selling the crack to the homeless guy. Now, typically, occasionally you'll get, someone up the food chain that does that, but not very often. Typically, that guy really doesn't know much other than he goes to wherever he goes to get his crack, right?
Yes, he'll go to wherever he goes to get his supply from one of the lower level dealers that only deals in X amounts. They don't have
Right.
Y amounts because they're not qualified to get there, but they have X amounts. So they go
Right.
to somebody else. So they're going to that first level supplier.
Right. And that first level supplier is where you start getting the people who know people, but the low level dealers even typically don't know much, right?
They don't. They typically know what they know. And if you're trying to get a RICO case or get to the top, you have to go past them.
Yep. Okay. So now let me draw a parallel here. I've been waiting for about 100 days now for anything on the Epstein list. And I keep getting, well, we can't share anything. I mean, trust me, we're going through it, but we don't want to ruin the case. Now, let's draw a parallel between the Epstein blackmail tree and these drug dealers, right? So you've got somewhere down the line, by the way, the H2 thermos there, which you can get at tomrenz.com. Check out our link to Sherwood. The low-level dealers, or the low-level, the drug users, I would say the drug users are akin to those that were blackmailed, right? So the guy who went and raped a child, and Jeffrey Epstein got video of them. Now, they're probably powerful people in many cases. I mean, there's actually, and I'll show you this. This is actually, let's see, where did I put this? Let me show you. Let's pull this up. I can, of course, I can just show you on my profile because that's where if you're not following Ren's Tom, you should be. So you go down here and you can see right here that I shared this tweet by Mila Joy. And Mila Joy says, I think that the John Roberts listed on the Epstein flight logs is Chief Justice John Roberts. It would explain why the conservative Republican usually votes with the Democrat members of the SCOTUS, right? And here you see John Roberts. And this is Epstein flight logs. And we don't know if that's the Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court or not. We don't. But I said, well, if Pam Bondi would make the Epstein stuff public and start charging the child rapists, this wouldn't be an issue. We'd know either he did something bad or not, and we wouldn't have to ask the question. So this, by making the Epstein list more public, what they do in the Epstein data is they clarify this so we can have more faith in the court, for example, right? So this is a very important thing that we need to consider. And one of the things about this is that there's a ton of this. But here's the thing. Bill Gates, a number of prominent politicians, even Prince Andrew, there's a lot of people who have been tied to the Epstein lists. Now, we don't know that they're child rapists. We don't know which John Roberts that is, if it's the Chief Justice or not. But what we do know is that there's a lot of massively powerful people who appear to be on that list and that may or may not be suspects. But at the end of the day, they're a lot like the drug user on the street. They may be being blackmailed, but they've got someone who's controlling them, and they don't know anything about the organization. All they know is the low-level dealer that's controlling them. And if you think that low-level dealer gave them any more information other than, I've got this video of you, you're going to do the following, you're insane, because they would never give that away. Am I wrong? Is that how these criminal organizations work?
Yeah, you're right on point. Most of the time, that's exactly how they work. And again, keep in mind for the folks listening, it's all for the purpose of protecting the person or persons at the top, right? So
Yeah.
if you shield them from the unequivocal 100% knowledge, you communicate it down, that's typical evil, I would say, in a facetious way, again, quality bad man's work. That's what they do, right? And so with the Epstein list, and I concur, for the public good at this point in time, because of all the media coverage, because of the situations that thing needs to be released, all of it, 100%, and it needs to be thoroughly vetted out in the open at this point, because if you don't bring it out, you continue to bring distrust upon a system you don't trust. It goes both ways. It's kind of crazy.
Yep, 100%. So, I mean, and that's where I'm going with this. But here's the thing. We keep not getting anything on this. They say, well, we're redacting information. We're hiding this. We're doing that. We're doing whatever. Listen, the list of people who were being blackmailed is not something that is going to be pivotal to bringing down the network. It's not going to, listen, they know who they were blackmailed by, and that's all they're going to know. And so once you've gotten that, you can start releasing this list, and these people are no longer blackmailed or controlled, and you can start charging these people. Now, unless you plan on making a deal with a child rapist to get them to testify against some low-level blackmailer, there is literally no reason that there haven't been charges. The network, that RICO case will take time. But these criminals that were raping children can be charged tomorrow. It's not going to damage the case. And Mark, if you have video evidence of someone raping a child, how long do you think, as a police officer, how long do you think it would take you to put that case together and get a charge over to the prosecutor?
It would be probably less than 12 hours.
Okay. We're at 100 days. Do you think that's enough time?
Yeah.
For one?
This is an interesting situation, because I think that, in my mind, looking at this case, the faster you bring multiple charges to the front of these low-level situations like this, the faster the collapse of the foundation will become, because you're going to start getting people to roll over. And the rolling over is not letting I want to make sure people understand, it's not letting a child molester off, but it could be the difference between life without parole and life with possibility of parole, or maybe, life without parole or 35 years, because you have the inherent problem with sexual abuse cases is you have to have this victim, and they're traumatized enough already. So you've got leverage right there with the bad guy, of course, but you also have to understand the trauma the victim's been under, whether you can A, find them, or B, what they'll testify, and see what they're going to testify to. So there's a lot that goes into that, but the faster that they press this thing forward, the faster they're going to get some answers.
100%. 100%. So more importantly, though, than that is, and I'm guessing that you would have seen this, when you start arresting a bunch of users in a neighborhood, less people are going to buy in that neighborhood, right? And other people may turn, right? So you find one or two and you start saying, hey, what do you know? And they turn, right? And then you start arresting the people above them, and you charge them. Then they turn, right? But there's no, as a lawyer, I can tell you that on the RICO side, there is no reason that there haven't been charges yet, none whatsoever. And as a cop, you're telling me that there's no reason that there haven't been charges, at least with some of these low-level child rapists. And so the problem that we have here is that until something is done, the drugs keep flowing in the neighborhood, right? Or in this case, the blackmail keeps occurring. Why would anybody stop, right? Right now, the people who are being blackmailed all feel as though they're protected. Whatever's happening, they feel protected. And so it's business as usual, and the blackmail continues until some of them start going to jail. And listen, if Prince Andrew actually did it, and you put him in jail, trust me, that sends a message. Mm-hmm. If the John Roberts listed on the flight logs is in fact the Supreme Court justice, which I have no evidence that it is, but if it was, and if he ends up in jail, trust me, that sends a message. You know, if a number of the prominent Democrats, if Bill Gates or Bill Clinton are arrested and put in jail, that's going to send one hell of a message. And guess what? That's going to shut down the blackmail ring. And so our national security becomes stronger. Our faith in our institutions, everything becomes better the faster you do this. But no one's doing it. Tell me your experience as a cop. Am I missing something? Do you see the parallels here?
Yeah, what I would do in this case, just let's throw down some names you just mentioned. Let's just use Prince as an example. If I was heading up the investigations, I would direct a team to gather evidence, what I thought led me to Prince Andrew as a suspect in whatever crime that was. And then I would gather the evidence as fast as possible, videotapes, photographs, talk to the alleged victim, get them identified, etc. And then I would set up a meeting with Prince Andrew, with his people and our people. And we would have that conversation. It might not be public, but we'd have that conversation in this case with this situation on the hope that A, you give us some names and what you know, or B, we make this public and you got 24 hours. What's it going to be, big boy? And then you leave it
24 hours, not 24 days.
No, 24 hours only is what I'd give them. You sleep on it and you move on. And I think that would get some things happening. But if you don't do anything, you've done nothing. And I think that's where we are right now in this case.
Well, that's precisely where we are. And, with Prince Andrew, that's a special case because he's, part of the royal family from a foreign country, this, that, and other. Now, when you talk about someone like Bill Gates, who is also reported to be on the list, or Bill Clinton, who is reported, well, Gates is just a private citizen.
That's right. Go right.
If he was raping children, well, by all means, let's put him in jail. And we don't know that he was, but if he was, by all means, let's put him in jail. Let's make an example. Let's get this done, right? There's no reason at this point for us to be delaying, waiting, or further screwing around. At this point, we have to make a difference. Now, this is we got the same sort of thing going with Act Blue. Let's look. I mean, Act Blue, I see that's trending today. And the reason it's trending is because of the what appears to be very, very wide scale criminal activity there, and in a bunch of other places. But at the end of the day, if we don't start somewhere, we're not doing anything, right?
We're not. And the interesting thing about me is I've watched this play out. If you watch it, and I'm not trying to be negative or anything like that. And this is reality. If you watch all the tough talk prior to the election, we're going to bring the list out. We're going to do this and that and the other. We're going to go. Well, if that's not happening, then what does that mean? It means that are people just talking? Is there any intent with that? Or was it just said to get a vote or get an appointment or whatever? And I have little trust right now in that system, quite frankly, as a former law enforcement person, because I've seen them drop the ball in obvious situations. And I'm talking from a simple investigator standpoint, and I've done both sides. I've done internal affairs, investigating the people that investigate, but I've also done an investigation of the criminals too. There is nothing that's happening here, Tom, that in my mind fits the profile of reasonableness at this point.
Mine either. Mark, I know you got to run. Thank you for giving us time today. Appreciate. Needed that cop input there. I mean, we needed a little bit of that. I think the parallels are tremendous. And as always, everybody go to tomrenz.com, tomrenz.com. Go up here to shop, go to affiliates, and go down to Kingdom Fuel. Check out Kingdom Fuel. Great product. No petroleum, no gasoline, no petroleum byproducts. Just healthy meal replacement. It'll make you lose weight, feel better. It's good stuff. Thank you, sir. You have a great day.
You're welcome, Tom. Have a great day. I appreciate you.
Thank you. All right, everybody. So there you have it from you have a conversation between a retired police officer and a lawyer, right? Neither of us can find or explain why, after 100 days in office, we haven't seen anything. And I don't know how long Bondi's been there, 60 days, I don't know, 70, whatever. There is no reason that none of these people have been prosecuted. None. Not one reason on this planet. I don't know what's happening. Unless someone sees value in keeping the blackmail scheme alive, which is illegal, there's no reason for this to still be there. But this is how the deep state works. And when we go to the theme of today being, let's talk about the deep state, they're influence operations, right? There's a lot of influence operations. And those influence operations are used universally to manipulate us, right? To cause all sorts of things to happen. And we're really, really without any sort of recourse on this. And if our government won't do something about it, if the government won't bring in these deep state. So when we look at deep state, like I said, they're about one of the biggest things about the deep state is the influence operations. And we talked a couple of days ago about the declassified CIA memo regarding Bobby Kennedy, or I'm sorry, not Bobby Kennedy, JFK, and his assassination, where they talked about how to manipulate the public and to control the public. Well, that deep state and those tactics are they're all over the place. And the deep states work really closely with big pharma. And so producer Andrea, I know she's in the background. She's not on camera today, but just as a heads up, please note the time mark here because we're going to be talking about something pretty important right now. So I want to talk about my friend Vigilant Fox, right? Because one of the big deep state operations has been to control the media, to control them, the narrative, and particularly around MAHA, right? And so they find ways to control. And at first, they had control of all the mainstream media, the form, that's now dead, and so they would control what the mainstream media said. Well, what's happened is that we've gone away from the mainstream media, and when Elon Musk decided to open up conversations on Twitter, a lot of things started exploding because people started talking, and people like Vigilant Fox became huge influencers. And there's a bunch of them you got that we'll get into here, but there's a number of them that have become huge influencers, right? And so this has shifted now, right? It's shifted. And what you'll see is the shift has gone because the mainstream media no longer has the power. People like Vigilant Fox do. So then they have to find new ways to manipulate the conversation. Well, Elon Musk came up with this great idea, community notes, right? Community notes, so that we could find out what's real and what's not, and let the community decide what works and what doesn't. Naturally, just like everything else, the deep state appears to get involved. Now, whether the deep state is big pharma or just paid shills, Act Blue, we don't know for sure. But the deep state seems to be gaming the community notes right now. And let me show you what's happening. I want to bring this up. So this is my friend Vigilant Fox. This is his post. Now, he's talking about community notes. And I'm going to go through this thread in great detail because I think it's very important. His issue here is there's a community notes individual that goes by Enterprising Desert Raven. EDR, we're going to call EDR. I call him ED retard, short for erectile dysfunction retard, because I think he's garbage. But why we're going to go with EDR so that I'm polite, right? So erectile dysfunction retard, or EDR, or Enterprising Desert Raven, whatever you want to call him. So he's been harassing people right and left. He puts community notes on everything. He's doing all sorts of things, and he continues to hit. Right now, he's really been focusing on Vigilant Fox and Shadow of Ezra. Shadow of Ezra has another huge account. He does a great job talking about the truth. MJ Ultra, Simon Goddick, all sorts of people are getting hit. Liz Churchill, a lot of big influencers who are pushing the truth out, especially about big pharma, are continually being targeted by this guy. Now, I know because I was targeted by this guy early on. If I had real big posts on anything related to the COVID jabs or mRNA or anything of the sort, I would get an EDR thing. And, I would frequently, I would wait for it, and then I'd post my evidence to back up what I was saying. And of course, he never had anything to say because he's just a paid shill. So anyways, there's been a lot of issues with this. And so Vigilant Fox and Shadow and all these guys have been talking about it. Now, in light of this, they let a guy known as Jay Baxter, and I don't know anything about Jay Baxter. I haven't talked to him, but he's the team lead for Community Notes. Now, they've made him aware of some of this, and when Vigilant made him aware, he blocked him. Let me show you what's going on. So as we go down this, Jay Baxter just blocked Vigilant Fox, for letting him know. All he did was let him know that he had concerns about EDR, right? About this guy who seems to be gaming Community Notes. Now, I know Vigilant Fox. Vigilant Fox wasn't going to spam this guy. He's a very polite, nice guy. He's a decent. I mean, he's not the kind of guy. He's not a crazed activist. He's and if you follow he doesn't speak flamboyantly. If you follow him, he's very straightforward. But so he let the Community Notes team lead know, hey, we got some stuff going on here. And the Community Notes blocked him. Instead of fixing it, it blocked him, right? Now, this is where EDR comes in, right? This guy said his reputation is a shameless big pharma shill. I have said that 100 times. He is, in my opinion, a shameless big pharma shill. That's who I think EDR is. 100%. EDR is absolutely, if he's not a big pharma shill, I don't know who is. I just never seen anything. I've never seen anything like it. He just is consistently, whatever big pharma says, he is constantly just backing them, right? So he's putting out everything, and like I said, he just keeps hitting all of us influencers and trying to ensure that our reach is limited, because if you get hit with a community note, it limits your reach. And it can really have a negative impact on your reputation, on your ability to get your message out. It has a huge impact, right? Now, community notes are supposed to be kind of a community developed thing. So manipulating them is a tricky thing. But Fox and some other people have dug into this, right? And they did a really good job. And what he says, EDR isn't just one account spamming on posts he doesn't like. This individual, or possibly a small team, is a full-blown sock puppet army, aggressively posing as individual fact checkers across at least 16 separate accounts, right? And he goes through and he lists it all, right? Right. And they got Resplendent Cedar Osprey, which I think makes total sense that they're either the same or working together. And then he's got a whole bunch of others. Dazzling Cactus Warbler, I've ran across him. I don't know that I've ran across Peachtree Canary, but there's a bunch of these guys that all appear to be working together on these community notes. They are posting it, they're pushing, all of a sudden, these notes get approved. And that's something, because getting a community note approved is very difficult. It's difficult to even get to where you can write a community note, right? Let alone getting them approved. So Fox goes on and says the two main accounts are Enterprising Desert Raven and Resplendent Cedar Osprey. As you can see, the type of posts they go after are very similar. And you can look here and you can see what they go after. It's always stuff, it's usually tied to big pharma. But you see, they go Wall Street Apes, God Cattell, MJ Ultra, Truth Ultra, and Liz Churchill. They've hit me a lot. They've hit Vigilant a lot. They've hit Shadow of Ezra a lot. They're people who are very focused on putting the truth out, regardless of any sort of political consequence. And particularly if it's related to big pharma. If it's about COVID, big pharma, mRNA, anything big pharma, they really, really hit. And I've experienced this myself. So Fox then goes down and he gives you screenshots, right? So Fox doesn't make any of this up. He can show you right here. And this is one of the things that Fox did really well on this tweet. Now, again, remember, he told the community notes guy about this. The community notes guy, instead of fixing it, just blocked him. Think about that. How ridiculous is that? Can you imagine that's what you do? I mean, you're in charge of community notes. You got a guy that gives you screenshot after screenshot after screenshot showing you that there are real issues. And suddenly, what do? Instead of fixing it, you just say, hey, there's nothing to see here. We're going to block you for telling me. That is ridiculous, folks. That's absolutely ridiculous. So, but that's what happens, right? So that's what happens. The guy blocks him. Now, Fox then goes on to show this, and he says, don't believe that these accounts are connected. I've got receipts. I've captured screenshots of coordinated scheme using the exact same sources and similar language to force in a fact check by flooding single post with notes. And this is absolutely correct. I have seen this numerous times, and you can see right here, right? So Fox brings the receipts. You can see the same sources, the same sort of language. You can see these things are almost identical between these two, right? You can see this over and over again. And there's a lot of these, right? Here's another example, right? Another example. You can see right here. You've got more community notes. This one, Resplendent Cedar Osprey and Enterprising Desert Radio. These two, it's like verbatim. Same places, same this, same that, right? This is like a PR response team from Big Pharma. It's clearly coordinated. It's the exact same sourcing. It's the exact same everything. And the thing about it is it would be one thing if these were just the best sources out there, but frequently there's counter data, right? You can show other sources that show they're wrong, and they'll manipulate these. They'll throw in opinion. They'll throw in all sorts of things that make it quite obvious that these things are not, it's not unbiased research. It's not like they're just like, hey, look at where we are. These guys are very, very clearly using the exact same stuff, right? So he says, well, the odds is typically happening organically. So he shows you now between Enterprising Desert Raven and Mindful Peachtree Canary, right? So Fox not only shows you Cedar Osprey, but he shows you again with another person. And you've got, again, same sources, same language, same everything, right? So you're seeing over and over again. So he's bringing more and more and more. And here you go again, right? Here's a canary and dazzling cactus warbler, right? So you've got this like team of leftists or Big Pharma shills or whatever they are. And maybe it's the same person with a bunch of accounts. We don't know. But whatever it is, all they do is sit there and post the same stuff over and over again until someone gets community noted, which then destroys their reach. It destroys the visibility of the post. And so there's a motive, right? So as a lawyer, I look at things. Is there a motive to do this? Is there an opportunity to do this? What's the reason to do it? And it's all there, right? So the motive is if you're getting paid from Big Pharma to shut down bad PR, you do these community notes and you do them with intent of reducing visibility. You don't want it viral because then everybody sees and knows your lies. So like we talk about the connections between mRNA and cancer. Of course, they want to community note that. They don't want that out there. And they seem to really target tweets that get over a certain threshold of visibility. When it gets to a certain threshold or a certain level of virality, it explodes, right? And, to be honest, there's a certain amount of throttling on Twitter that seems to be occurring where, so for me, my throttle hits 50K. Like if I go viral after 50K, it shuts down. Like I can get to 50K on a big post in minutes. To go past 50K takes an act of God, right? I have to, make sure that I'm doing A, B, and C to get there. It's a process. But for some of these bigger accounts, you can't throttle it quite so low. 50K would be obvious. I'm at 320 some thousand followers. If you got 1.6 million, a 50K is too low. So they look at this, and I think it's all based on thresholds and numbers, right? But these guys do the same thing over and over again, right? And here you got a great one with 4 linked accounts, right? So this one, I like this one. You've got 4 accounts, same sources, same language, same everything, right? Over and over again. So when Vigilant Fox lets the team leader of Community Notes know about this, understand he didn't just say, hey, I heard a rumor. He actually brought screenshot after screenshot after screenshot of receipt. And it looks, this is a common sense thing, right? This is a common sense. If I go to a courtroom and I'm in front of a jury and I say, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I don't have a witness that John Doe over there shot the victim. But I'll tell you what I do have. I have a gun with his fingerprints on it at the scene that was a crime weapon. I have video of him entering and leaving the crime scene at approximately the time of the killing. I have the fact that John Doe was mad at the victim because the victim was sleeping with his wife. So I have a motive, I have an opportunity, I have a reason, I have everything, I have evidence. I don't have direct evidence. I can't say that I've got a witness, but I've got plenty of evidence to convict, right? That's what's happening here. Vigilant Fox has brought dozens of screenshots, and he gave them to the team lead of Community Notes, for God's sakes. The Community Notes program is actually pretty good. I really like it. I think Musk did a great job on it, but it's still being gamed. Okay, it's being gamed. We see it when you see, 10 posts with the exact same threads, exact same language, exact same everything, and over and over and over again. They're just the same. You have to start asking, is this the same person? Is it the same team? Is it coordinated? And of course it is. Of course it is. So this Fox goes on. So it's six sock puppet accounts that I exposed with a handful of screenshots. But remember, the known list stretches to at least 16 accounts. So we've got at least 16, right? So this looks like quite an operation. 16 accounts all just basically mimicking themselves, all looking, just saying the same thing over and over, same sources, same this, same that. Now, understand, that's not an easy thing to do, right? All of these right here. And he gave not only screenshot, but links. I mean, Fox didn't talk out of his rear. He literally spoke with evidence. He brought the data. There's evidence there. So Exquisite Ocean Owl writes, coordinating multiple community note accounts to spam notes on a post is a platform manipulation and against X terms of service. It artificially boosts the probability of a single note getting approved. And here you have it, right? So that's against terms of service. So you would think that Mr. J. Baxter would be interested in this, right? It's abuse of community notes. That's his team. And Baxter is, according to Fox, not doing anything. This is a form of censorship through the gamesmanship of community notes, and it looks like the guy leading community notes doesn't care. Now here, Dr. Simon Godek, here you go. And Godek does a great job, by the way, great health freedom advocate. And you can see here, he breaks this down. He says, Enterprise Desert Raven, closely tied to Big Pharma, continues to weaponize community notes. He makes it even more absurd is that he appears to be buddies with this guy who's allowing him to do this, right? And we don't know if he's actually buddies with him. But, I mean, why is Jay Baxter allowing this to happen? And we need Elon Musk to be aware. Because Musk has said over and over, he's a free speech absolutist. His words. He's made the platform far more free speech. And I understand community notes, and I understand not wanting to amplify fake info, but if community notes is being abused, which it is, that's an issue, and that's an anathema to what Elon Musk has stood for, right? So he goes on there, and Fox says, when you call him out or ask him why he's refusing to stop the abuse, he blocks you, right? He blocked not only that, but he also blocked Simon. Dr. Godal, Godek, I'm sorry. He blocked Simon as well, right? Here you got it. I mean, why? Why? I mean, if the team lead of community notes, why not say thank you? Why not say, from a PR perspective, why not look into it and say, yes, we can confirm that they're coordinated, or no, they're not. We've looked into it. But I mean, Vigilant and these guys, they didn't come and just say it at random. They brought evidence, a lot of it, right? Now it gets worse. It gets worse because let's look at what happened here, right? So to protect weaponizing community notes and keep people silent, EDR has a track record of intimidating and threatening people to shut down their accounts and keep them quiet, right? Here you see a screenshot Yeah, and this is amazing. Uh, I'm already following you from an alternate account. Let's see how long your account lasts. So EDR is apparently admitting to following people from multiple accounts. So is he doing this? Is he? Yeah, how many accounts is he doing? He's manipulating this and threatening people. He's threatening people, folks. That is a wild abuse of community notes. Wild. That's the stuff lawsuits are made of. Just saying. You can't do that, right? Now, here, he actually made a threat against Liz Churchill, who is also fighting this and also dealing with this. Now, this is a big deal, right? Liz has been posting a lot of stuff. He says there's plenty. Listen, look at what he said here, right? I'm not going to give it, but this was caught via screenshot, and Dr. Simon Goddick actually caught this, right? And he screenshot. He said, though there is plenty of evidence to confirm that Liz Churchill is an absolute effing C that a half-decent vet would put down. Are you kidding me? That's in a community note? How is this guy, and this Baxter is letting this happen? That is absolutely wild. I want to know, does Elon Musk know that Baxter was made aware of this and did nothing? And you go down and there's more, right? After EDR did this, he started getting chewed out. He deleted it. Or at least we're assuming he got chewed out, right? We don't actually know that. But he actually posts this about the effing C, then he deletes it. Luckily, got a screenshot, which is awesome. But look at this. It's incredible. He then deletes it, right? This is the one that's most impressive. Now, this is unconfirmed, but Fox says, I've even heard horror stories that EDR has sent packages to people's doorsteps as a twisted way to intimidate them and say, I know where you live. Now, I would love for him to send me a little package because we would be taking some action. And by the way, I want to make it known, if anybody has actually had something to intimidate you mailed to your house by this guy, please let me know. Please reach out. I would like to know, because I would like to see. I mean, that might be something to look at legal action on, right? So, I mean, this guy has gone way overboard. I don't know how much he's getting paid or what kind of a big pharma shill he is or who he's tied to. But what I know is that when we start seeing that, that's crossing a major line, right? Now, this goes on. And what we're dealing with here is a guy who's been abusing community snow systems since day one. He's got 16 sock puppet accounts. And this is what they do. He's using intimidation, retaliation, all sorts of things, right? Trying to shut people's accounts down. They let this guy, Jay Baxter, the community notes guy, know about it, and he does nothing, right? Absolutely nothing. And we've got to get some out. Now, Fox let Lydia and Elon Musk know about this. This is harassment and abuse. This is similar. I would say that this is not physically violent like the Tesla attacks, but it's very similar in nature. It's the intimidation and abuse that you get from the deep state, right? This is very similar to what we're seeing, right? And Fox and crew have blown the whistle on this. What is occurring now is that the deep state is in panic mode. People like us have access to Twitter. So they need to game the algorithm by using things like community notes to shut down and limit our accounts. And it has a big impact. And the question we have to ask ourselves is there someone complicit inside of Twitter or not? What's going on here? Why are community notes being weaponized against major influencers who are just telling the truth? Why is this occurring? I've got to be honest with you. If EDR is harassing people in a way that crosses the line, there may be legal action to be taken. And, I've got to say, with regards to X, I mean, I can't believe that Elon Musk would be aware of this, because Elon Musk has been very clear how he feels about free speech. He's been very clear and consistent about what he's doing. No one is okay with that sort of, to call Liz Churchill that kind of a language, use that language against someone, and to be that kind of a just scumbag. I mean, this is a major, major issue, folks, a major issue. And it's coming from the deep state, right? The deep state, whether the deep state is our CIA. Now we know, and here's something we've got to ask ourselves. So Twitter this year, and this is a big deal. I checked on this. And I want to let's see if I can find where I've got this. Looking, seeing what we can find. Here we go. I think this is it. Nope. Don't have it right now. But yeah, Twitter, I think, is up. I think they've complied with 80 plus. They're around the 80% mark of complying with government requests, right? They actually are complying with government requests. You're not getting government requests in the US, but according to Grok, Twitter is complying with government requests for tweets to be censored, shut down more frequently now than they did in the past. Now, that's probably because in different countries, different rules. But the question I would ask is, even though Trump would never allow that, how do we know that some CIA guy, some deep state operative isn't trying to pull strings there? How do we know that that's not happening? The government's huge. The deep state's working against Trump everywhere. How do we know they're not working against him there? How do we know that the deep state, somewhere between the government and Twitter, that's not still happening? How do we know that this Jay Baxter guy is doing right? We don't know. We don't. And the lack of transparency and the fact that Jay Baxter would simply block people who've presented real evidence of manipulation of the Community Notes program is appalling. It's absolutely appalling. If you're going to be the team lead of Community Notes, you should be the number one guy out there cheerleading and looking for any evidence. You should be begging for evidence. Listen, if Community Notes has an issue, you make sure you tell us. We're going to investigate every single issue, because the point of Community Notes is to ensure that everybody gets to see the truth, that the people get to all look at this and they get to come together and figure out where the truth. The purpose is to combat misinformation through community review. So if you're going to lead that team, you've got to take action. But much like the Epstein list, much like we're seeing across the board, the deep state isn't just fighting back, they're winning. They're winning. And by winning, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I'm hoping Trump's got some big, forgive the pun, Trump cards up his sleeve that he's going to play. He hasn't played them yet. And the fact, as we said at the beginning of this, that Bondi hasn't arrested one child rapist from the Epstein list is terrifying to me. It would help to shut down this entire blackmail operation. And I mean, even if you just did a couple high profile, it would show that they mean business. It would give the people confidence. It'd be a public, this would be a huge deal. But instead, nothing. Absolute silence. Absolute nothing. And in fact, instead of not only silence, but Bondi actually responded to Tom Fitton and Judicial Watch and their FOIA request for the Epstein stuff, and saying that she doesn't have any files. She literally said they're on her desk and that they delivered truckloads. What do you mean she doesn't have any files? How do you not have files? I thought they went up to New York and got files. I thought they got truckloads of data. Where are they? What's going on here, folks? What's going on? If 1 megabit of that information was deleted or gone, why aren't the FBI people behind it are in jail? Someone needs to be in jail. We need to shut this down. The blackmail is continuing. The deep state's still fighting. And we're getting to a point where even on our free speech platforms like Twitter, we can't get the truth out because Community Notes are being gamed. We can't let the censorship regime retake power. We've got to continue fighting that. Now, there's certainly a lot of censorship, but it's really out of control at this point, and we're just not getting the views. And we're not getting the views because of this. And at the end of the day, if one program at X has to be spot on, it's got to be Community Notes. It's got to be that. So anyways, this is a critical thing. We need people sharing this. We need people pushing this. We've got to get the truth out on this. Censorship is probably the most profound issue that we're facing and that we faced. Without censorship, COVID didn't exist. The COVID lockdowns, the COVID debacle, none of that existed. It only occurred because of censorship. So now the question is, are we going to continue fighting this, or are we going to let it rear its ugly head again in a new form? I mean, we've finally gotten some truth that the disinformation dozen was not. They were the truth tellers. We've gotten some confirmation that a lot of this nonsense was coming from abroad. It was coming from foreign countries. Maybe that's where EDR is from. Maybe he's a foreigner. Maybe it's this foreign government operation. Has anybody thought about that? We don't know. All we know is that the censorship regime is alive and well. It's continuing to this day. And unless we, the people, demand accountability for the deep state, we need people from the deep state in jail, starting with the child rapists on the Epstein list, starting with the people who were behind the Epstein blackmail scheme. Unless that happens, this will continue. It will come back. The WHO treaty is signed. It's done. The WHO treaty's there. Anthony Fauci says we got a new respiratory disease coming. You want more lockdowns, folks? You want more vaccines? It's all there. It's all waiting to come. Donald Trump has 4 years. How much is he going to get done after the next midterms if they steal another election? If they steal a majority from the House or the Senate? We're going to be in big trouble if we don't get these things moving, folks. We're on a time clock where it's a time crunch. Donald Trump being in office doesn't mean we got a free ride and we can sit back. It means we got to double down and fight twice as hard. That's where we're at. So anyways, I want to urge you, keep fighting back. I appreciate you all listening. Go to TomRenz.com, support our affiliates and our sponsors, support everyone that's backing us, and give sendgo.com/Renzlaw. We thank you. We appreciate your support. Have a great day.